Ciao, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the final summer recipe video of 2022. We are doing 3 delicious summer recipes. It is actually September 1st when I'm filming this. I know America's marketing. I know that everything is all autumn, all fall. The pumpkin is here. It's Starbucks released their pumpkin spice latte. I am seeing all the food creators making everything pumpkin already, apple, all that. But I went to the farmer's market this past weekend and there was so much eggplant, so many tomatoes, lots and lots of corn, just beautiful summer produce still. It's still in full blast here, and so I'm just not gonna be trendy and I'm not gonna follow the masses. I'm gonna follow my own thing and my own heart and keep to what is in season. And come October, we're gonna do full pumpkin, full spices, apples, pears, all the things that are cozy and delicious for fall, but I have to stay true to what's in season, and I just felt called to do one final recipe video reflecting incredible summer produce, as well as I kind of wanted to get rid of a few things that I have kind of in my fridge and pantry. I know that I do create a lot of recipes within my recipes, so I'll create a sauce, I'll create some kind of topping, filling, a thing, like there's a lot of like 3 or 4 sometimes recipes within a single recipe that I create for you guys. So you might have a little bit of leftover. I kind of wanted to clean out what I had in my fridge and my freezer and kind of get that fresh start. So starting off with recipe number 1, we're gonna use the fire roasted red pepper sauce. We're gonna cook some arborio rice in it to make suppli. So I am Roman and I have to give a nod to one of my family's most favorite dishes ever, which is suppli. We get them every time we go out to eat pizza, which is just like our family tradition in Rome. So a suppli is similar to arancini, but it has something stuffed in the middle. I will probably tag them arancini just because more people know what those are than suppli. That is recipe number 1. Recipe number 2 is going to be a preserved lemon and toasted sesame hummus with a topping of some gorgeous cute little eggplant that are fried up in some olive oil, some olives, some more preserved lemon, some mint, and then lastly, I'm so excited to make this one. It is going to be a gazpacho. I've never made a gazpacho on my channel yet, and I do love them so much. It is such a refreshing, light dish, and it's gonna be a summer corn and yellow tomato gazpacho. It's 80 degrees today, so there's nothing better than something light and refreshing like a gazpacho. Enough chit-chatting, enough talking. Let's hop into some delicious Mediterranean diet recipes. Let us begin. So for recipe number 1, I already have the base prepped, which is this delicious smoky fire roasted red pepper sauce that I made for some rollatini back in another recipe video, but I had so much of that sauce left over and I have to, I'm sorry. I made some rice. So arborio rice is a short grain rice and it's very, very starchy. It's still gluten-free, but it gives off a lot of starch, which helps make it super, super creamy. And that's why they use it for risotto. But I was impatient and I had this sauce ready to go. I had about 1.5 cups of the sauce. And so I stirred it in with about 1/4 cup of water to thin it out a little bit and cooked the rice like you would make normal rice, except it doesn't fluff up like normal rice. It'll still stay super rich and creamy. And so once the sauce was like 85% absorbed, I added in another 1/4 cup of water, kept stirring and simmering it, adding in a little bit more water every time until I tasted it and it was al dente, so perfectly to the tooth. And by adding a little bit of water more and more at the end, it does create kind of more of that risotto creaminess. So we have what would be just leftover risotto. So if you have leftover risotto, this is a perfect thing to make with it. If you have leftover pasta sauce, this is another idea, is just to use up that pasta sauces to cook the arborio and you get super creamy rice. Let it cool completely. And as you can see, it sticks together super well. I scoop up a thing of, what's it called? Rice. And then of course I put a lid on it like a dummy. But I have some prepped local from the farmer's market mozzarella. Does it taste like mozzarella? No, not really. But I'm glad that I supported local. So mozzarella would be really good here. Just some really nice, beautiful melting cheese. You could also use like, you know, the Italians would kill me if I said this to you, but you could use like Gouda or cheddar or some kind of really yummy cheese. And you place it in the center just like this. And then you kind of wrap it ever so slightly, like if you were like stuffing a meatball or something like that, and be really gentle with it. Yes, this is a little time consuming, I know, but it's fun. Get your kids or your partner or something to help you, and then you have a perfect ball. Your hands will get gross as well. And then I'm just gonna drop it into, we have a dredging mixture here. We have flour, egg, and panko. I think panko is the best. They're so crispy of breadcrumbs, But if you have just normal breadcrumbs, go ahead and use that. Use what you got. And if you don't have an ice cream scoop, that's totally fine. Just like use a spoon to scoop out like 2 or 3 tablespoons. And then you just take the cheese, like I said, place it right in the center like that, and then just kind of morph it all around. Lose a little bit of rice on the way, oopsies. And kind of make sure you get enough of that mixture on the bottom of that cheese so it doesn't like fall through. And then just make a beautiful ball. It's a very non-numb dish to like be doing all this handmade stuff. And then there you go, it's perfect. What was I saying? Oh, so panko is what I use, but if you have normal breadcrumbs, please by all means use normal breadcrumbs. And then the other thing is if you wanted to make this gluten-free, I have just all-purpose flour here, but you can use a gluten-free flour, gluten-free all-purpose flour. I added a little bit of salt and pepper to the bowl with the flour, and then egg wash, and then you could use gluten-free breadcrumbs. And so these are looking incredible. I can't believe how well these worked out. I didn't know if they were gonna work out. I kind of, like always, just make it up in my head and hope for the best. And then if you wanted to make it dairy-free, you of course could use a vegan cheese instead of, you know, mozzarella or something. But what to do about making it vegan? I don't know. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can like skip the whole egg thing. I try to give you guys as many alternatives as I can, but I don't know if this could be vegan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry about that. But the reason why I'm also prepping all of these balls first before going in and dredging all of them is because the key to dredging, it can get a little bit annoying, is you wanna keep a wet and a dry hand. So you wanna have one hand that helps you go from the flour to the egg mixture, and then you want the other hand to help you go from the egg to the flour mixture, because if you do your hands in all three, you'll start literally coating your fingertips, which just makes for a mess. And don't get me wrong, this is obviously a mess to make, but like the mess you don't want. Not like the fun mess, but like a mess you don't want, if that makes sense. Out of the air fryer. They look golden brown and delicious. Totally forgot. I was like so proud of myself. I got in the car to come here and I was like, I did not forget anything. Totally forgot the sauce. I had another different type of tomato sauce left over in the freezer and I was gonna defrost it and dip these into it. In Italy, when we eat suppli, we don't dip it into anything. You just eat it as is. The perfect bite. Look at that mozzarella pull. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna burn my mouth. Time to taste test some fire roasted red pepper suppli with fresh mozzarella on the inside. The sauce gives the rice so much flavor. You have the gooey mozzarella on the inside. The rice is still super chewy al dente, and you also get that crunch from the panko. Definitely very crispy outside. I love the air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, this would totally work at 425 in the oven. I mean, what's not to love about cheesy breaded rice? It's the perfect way to use up leftovers, perfect snack, perfect appetizer, perfect all kinds of thing. This totally hits the spot. Let's move on to recipe number 2. Recipe number 2. I'm so excited for this one. So I had leftover preserved lemon and yogurt sauce left over from the fritters that I had made in one of my recent videos. And I think preserved lemons are so fun. They are so different than any other thing that I've ever tasted in my life. They're salty, briny, funky, and I just think it's so important for us to explore different flavors all the time. I had this idea of how to use up this leftover creamy preserved lemon goodness. So I thought staple is always hummus. You can't go wrong with it. So as I was thinking of like this recipe video and all the recipes to make, I was like, wait, I don't have any tahini for the hummus, but I have lots of toasted sesame seeds. And so I just threw those in with the blender and basically made my own tahini, because all tahini is sesame seeds ground up. But to add even more flavor, I use toasted sesame seeds for that toasty, nutty flavor. So if you don't have that preserved lemon sauce on hand, I would just throw in probably a whole entire preserved lemon minus the pits, like 2 tablespoons of yogurt to add that funky deliciousness and that creamy, tangy goodness. Lots of fun things going on here. So I will leave a little note on my website or try to remember for this recipe if you don't have that sauce ready to go. Give it a try. If you don't have preserved lemons, just make like, I want to say super lemony hummus, but it's lemons don't reflect the taste of preserved lemons. Just go out of your comfort zone. Google Mediterranean or Middle Eastern grocery stores near me, and I promise like 2 will pop up, and you will find super cool ingredients that are out of your comfort zone that taste incredible. Look how thick and creamy this hummus turned out. Incredible. The other thing that really prompted me to make this meal is I found these adorable teeny tiny eggplant at the farmer's market. They were so cute. A Chinese eggplant, which is the more like light purple ones, and then the dark like traditional Mediterranean eggplants. So what I did is I halved these tiny itty bitty eggplants and threw them in the oil that I kind of infused, and then fried the eggplant in that oil. And I love these caraway pans because the oil stays like in a pool, so it's really easy to get that oil nice and infused. Originally, I thought of making like an eggplant tapenade, but I wanted something larger because tapenade is like really fine, kind of like paste. You have the briny capers in tapenade usually, and instead of briny capers, I chose briny preserved lemons. So that's kind of honestly how this recipe was born. I used my favorite green olives, Castelvetrano, the mint for some herbs, some thyme for some herbs, and then garlic. So instead of making a big paste, I made it a rustic chopped fried kind of thing. But when I went to go fry up the eggplant, because the eggplant was going to take so much longer, I didn't want to burn these beautiful ingredients. So I took everything out of the oil and just left the oil. I pitched the garlic, the thyme. The mint leaves are actually really still good because they're nice and fried and delicious. They didn't get too black, so I do love that. This incredible hummus and eggplant dish was created for so many reasons, and I just wanted to showcase preserved lemons again because I know they're kind of a weird ingredient, but like I said, they're so briny, and in place of capers is what I kind of use them for this deconstructed tapenade idea. So if you have a recipe that uses capers and you want to try out preserved lemons just for fun, I think it could really work because they are so briny and kind of resemble that kind of same texture of like a chewiness. But anyways, stop talking. Let's try this toasted sesame and preserved lemon hummus with fried eggplant. If you love so much rich depth flavor, this is it. You have that really charred, delicious fried eggplant flavor, chewy, meaty eggplant, smooth and creamy, yet super tangy, and a lot of that briny, salty goodness from the preserved lemons in that hummus and on top, and then you get even more saltiness from the olives. And then all of a sudden you get a little bit of mint to help make everything so much more refreshing. So good. So now it's time to move on to the third and final recipe. Our third and final recipe, I have a big bowl that probably needs to be a lot bigger. And I'm putting a tiny bowl inside of it. And we are gonna work on 3 ears of corn for this incredible corn and yellow tomato gazpacho. A lot of ways to do corn and get it off the cob. You wanna cut along and just get all the beautiful kernels off the cob and into the bowl. This is my favorite way to do it. And yes, it does still get everywhere. Getting corn juice all over me in this dress is way too cute to get corn juice all over. So we're going with an apron. So right now I'm actually in the works of creating an apron, a lot like what you're looking at. But in the meantime, I have to wear this. But anyways, so gazpacho. Let's talk about gazpacho. It is the best soup ever because it takes no time at all. It's served cold. You don't have to do any cooking. I did actually cook off this corn. You don't have to do that. I just think it's a little bit sweeter if you do cook the corn. So I'm starting off the gazpacho with a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Gazpacho comes from Spain, and I'm gonna do about 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar because it gets so hot there, and you just want something so cool and refreshing. The other reason I came up with the gazpacho idea is we have a family recipe for the most incredible corn salad. I don't know what it is about red wine vinegar and corn together. They're just so good together. So I'm gonna go in and add the corn into the blender. I have the salad, is what I was trying to say, with like red onions, corn, tomatoes, herbs, and it has a red wine vinegar dressing, and it's just incredibly good. But I didn't want to show you guys another salad, and I feel like I don't highlight soups enough because I love soups. I have 2 gorgeous heirloom golden tomatoes. I'm just gonna pop those straight in. Literally so lazy. And then I have another beautiful pint here of little tiny golden tomatoes, and I'm just gonna use half a pint. So you can either use 3 large tomatoes for a pint of these tomatoes, or the tiny tomatoes, but I have both, so I'm gonna use both. Cucumber, so I'm going in with half of a really large English cucumber. Basil, we're gonna do a large handful, so like 10 leaves of basil going in because it needs some herbaceous, delicious goodness. And because we're not cooking this, I wanted a really light tasting oniony flavor. I don't want anything super overpowering, and shallots are a lot more mild than your normal onion. So I'm going in with 1 like medium, I would say. This is a medium shallot. So 1 shallot going in, just like that. And the very last thing is gonna be a yellow bell pepper. Bell peppers are super sweet. Like I said, this is kind of slightly sweet from the corn, and now the tomatoes, the bell pepper, they all have some sweetness going on. So So we have a beautiful blender of olive oil, red wine vinegar, lots and lots of corn, lots of tomatoes, cucumbers, red bell pepper, basil, and I almost forgot, a lot of salt. I'm gonna blend up this beautiful gazpacho, throw it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, let it chill, and then we'll taste test. This soup is so refreshing, so sweet, and actually extra creamy. Usually gazpacho is quite like almost thin and chunky, but this is really creamy from all that starch that the corn gives, because the corn makes it super creamy. It's sweet from the bell peppers and the corn and the tomatoes. Slight hint of savory goodness from that onion and that red wine vinegar. I know it sounds strange to chill your soup, but you have to try this delicious golden corn and tomato gazpacho. It's the perfect way to get rid of all your produce, use it up, store it. You can even freeze this gazpacho really well and then just defrost it and have like a single serving. I'm gonna eat this entire bowl. And it makes me really sad because I think this would probably be one of the best recipes to say goodbye to summer. I hope you enjoyed all the recipe videos that came out of this summer season. And that is part of Mediterranean lifestyle, is just changing with seasons. I am so grateful that you guys watched this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I know I've dragged on summer long enough. Next video will be fall, I promise. Will the clothes ever turn into fall clothes? Maybe not. Will I always pretend to wear something kind of summery? Maybe. But at least the food will change into fall. I know this wasn't probably my most incredible recipe video because it was so hodgepodge with all the farmer's market finds and trying to clean out my fridge and freezer and stuff like that. But I still hope you enjoyed. Remember, these recipes are just inspiration. I'm not saying you have to make this exact recipe, just inspiration for ways to use up rice and sauces and cheeses and different types of appetizers and different types of foods. Excuse me, ice machine, I'm trying to talk here. Different types of foods to enjoy, like soups or rice balls or hummus with just veggies, different ways to prepare your veggies, different ingredients that you wouldn't normally use, like preserved lemons or Oreo rice, things you just maybe aren't in your... The ice machine just told me to shut up, and so I'm gonna shut up. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment below what you loved most about this recipe video, what you're most excited for with fall. Give me your questions, your recommendations, give me what you want to see this fall. Please let me know in the comments below. I love getting to talk to you guys. It makes my day. It's my favorite thing ever, is reading your comments. That's all I got. I really hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I hope you create a very zestful day. Ciao.